Welcome to the deep dive. Are you picturing yourself wandering through Portugal's vibrant cities, maybe Lisbon's historic hills, or Porto's riverside charm, or, the sun-drenched beaches down south?
It's a fantastic image.
It's an enticing thought, isn't it? But before you can really lose yourself in the adventure, there's always that practical question. How do I actually get around?
Right. The logistics.
Exactly. So today, we're cutting through the complexity. We want to give you the clearest path through Portugal's public transport and driving regulations.
Well, our mission for this deep dive is really to distill a whole stack of practical sources. We're
Yeah.
talking everything from metro cards to the sometimes tricky rules for driving license exchanges,
Yeah.
and boil it down into the most important actionable insights. We want to make sure you're not just informed, but, genuinely prepared,
Right.
ready to explore Portugal with confidence, knowing exactly what to do.
And believe me, these sources held a lot of information. We've really tried to extract the key nuggets for you, zeroing in on the major cities like Lisbon, Porto, Coimbra, Braga, and Faro.
And we'll also cover those vital details about driving for foreigners. We'll clarify the different systems and, maybe most importantly, those absolute must-know deadlines that could save you a real headache.
Definitely.
So let's kick things off with public transport, because one thing immediately jumps out across all the cities we looked at:
What's that?
the absolute necessity of validating your ticket or card every single time you board.
Ah, yes, that's universal.
It's not just a suggestion, right?
Okay.
It's a rule that could save you from some pretty hefty fines. We're talking 100, maybe 200 euro, or even up to a staggering 350 euro in Braga.
Wow. Yeah, what's truly insightful there is that while the validation rule is non-negotiable everywhere,
Yeah.
the systems themselves, they vary quite a bit city by city.
Right.
So the core question becomes, how do you actually manage these different approaches effectively? We'll break down the specifics city by city, highlight what truly matters for each. And, this validation thing, it also kind of speaks to a mature public transport system, one that emphasizes compliance. Okay, so let's start our journey in Lisbon then. The Navigante card, you might remember it as Viva Viagem.
The old name.
It really is the single solution there for navigating the metro, trams, buses, even the funiculars. You grab this reusable card for just 1.50 fee at metro stations, kiosks, or you can even get it online now.
And zooming out a bit, that Navigante card offers incredible flexibility. You can load it with single fares, usually 1.85 for a metro or bus ride.
Okay.
Or, for better value if you're moving around a lot, there's the zapping credit option.
Yeah.
This deducts a slightly cheaper 1.66 per ride from your balance.
So like a pay-as-you-go, but cheaper per trip.
Exactly. It's a smart choice if you don't need a full-day pass but plan several trips. And what's particularly clever is you can just tap your contactless bank card at the gates for that 1.85.
Right, convenient.
But the zapping credit still beats it on price per ride. It sort of rewards regular users. Day passes are also an option, of course. There's a 7.2 euro one for Keras buses in the metro all day, or up to 11 euro if you want to include the CP suburban trains, say, out to Sintra or Cascais.
Good to know. And just to hammer it home, those fines for not validating are seriously no joke, often 50 to 100 times the standard fare.
Ouch.
But on a more modern note, a really cool development in 2024 is the Carisway app. If your smartphone has NFC, you can use it to recharge your Navigante card, load zapping credit, even buy monthly passes right on your phone.
Oh, that's a huge time saver. A real game changer, actually. No more queuing at machines.
Definitely.
And speaking of monthly passes, the Navigante Metropolitano, that's 40 euro, is the big one, covers all Lisbon transport, metro, bus, tram, and the CP train zones too. If you're mainly staying within the city itself, the Navigante Municipal Pass is 30 euros, just covers those inner zones. Plus, there are significant discounts for youth under 23, families, and people who qualify for Social Plus reductions. That's usually based on low income or certain benefits.
Right.
And a key tip here: remember to buy or renew these monthly passes by the 25th of the month before you need it. Got to plan ahead to make sure it's active on the 1st.
Good planning advice. And Lisbon's transport itself is just iconic, isn't it? The metro has 4 lines, easy to navigate. The red line goes straight to the airport, a total lifesaver after a long flight.
Absolutely essential.
Then you've got the charming 28E trams and the funiculars winding through the Old Town hills, though, warning, they get packed fast. Early mornings are your best bet there.
Definitely try to beat the crowds.
Keras buses fill in all the gaps, making sure you can reach pretty much anywhere. And remember those CP suburban trains from stations like Rocio or Cais do Sodré out to Sintra and Cascais? Often those need separate tickets, or you need that specific 11-day pass for full coverage.
Good distinction.
All right, leaving the historical grandeur of Lisbon, let's head north to Porto. Vibrant riverside city, they use an integrated system called Andante.
Right, the Andante. And here you'll be using a blue rechargeable card.
Okay, blue card.
For shorter visits, the tourist options are great. The 24-hour card is 72 hours, €17. And the brilliant thing about the Andante Tour card is it covers all zones. No fussing about zones.
Oh, that simplifies things for visitors.
Exactly. If you're a resident, you'd usually get a personalized card. Costs just €0.60 to issue.
Gotcha.
Now, what's especially significant about Porto's system is its zonal fare structure. This is different from Lisbon's basic fare.
How does that work?
Well, basically, the more zones you travel through, the higher your fare. So maybe a trip within 1 or 2 zones is 1.20, but crossing 4 zones might cost €2.
Okay, so you need to know your zones.
You do. But there's a nice little bonus for frequent users. The 10+1 deal. If you buy a 10-trip bundle for a specific zone combination, you actually get 1 ride free.
Ah, a little perk.
Yeah. And just like everywhere else, that mandatory validation is key. Use the yellow machines at stations or the validators on the bus or tram. Got to do it to avoid those fines.
Right, still got to validate. And for regulars in Porto, the monthly passes.
Also, quite flexible. There's the Andante 3Z for €30, which covers any 3 continuous zones you choose. The municipal pass, also €30, is just for one specific city zone.
Okay.
And if you travel all over the Porto metropolitan area, the Metropolitano Pass is €40. Similar discounts apply to family, senior, student. And for planning routes and buying tickets on your phone, the official Anda app is the one you want in Porto.
Anda app. Got it. Okay, moving inland now to Coimbra.
Coimbra, a more localized system here. It's mainly run by SMTUC electric buses.
Electric buses, nice.
Yeah. And the beauty here is the really straightforward fare. Just €1 for a single ride. No complex zones to worry about. Makes it super easy.
€1 flat fee. Simple.
Very simple. And for savings, you can get multi-ride tickets, like 10 journeys for €6.50.
Okay. And day passes.
Yep, Coimbra has those too.
Yeah.
4 for 24 hours, 9 for 3 days, or 15 for in a whole week. And a monthly pass for the entire network is €30.
Where do you usually buy tickets?
Often, you can just buy them right on the bus from the driver or at designated kiosks. And you guessed it.
Still got to validate.
Still got to validate. Though Coimbra also has some local train shuttles, and honestly, the old town is very walkable. That can be a really pleasant way to explore.
Good point. All right, heading further north now to Braga.
Braga. City buses there are run by PUB. Fares are zonal again, similar to Porto in concept. Coroa 1 is the inner city. Coroa 2 is the wider area. A single trip costs €1.50.
Okay, zonal again.
What's particularly notable about Braga, though, is their commitment to sustainability. They boast a 100% electric bus fleet.
Wow, fully electric.
Fully electric. And residents seem to pretty consistently praise them for being quiet and generally punctual.
That's impressive. Any tourist passes?
Yes, they have tourist day passes. For example, a one-day pass costs around $3.35. Monthly passes for that inner Coroa 1 zone are quite cheap, just €14.
€14, that's good value.
It is. But one thing to really pay attention to in Braga, the fines for fare evasion, they can go up to €350.
€350. Ouch. Okay, definitely a strong reason to pay and validate there.
Absolutely. No messing around.
All right, let's wrap up the transport section down south in Faro.
Faro, served by Proximo buses. And this is where the system really shifts away from the unified cards like Lisbon and Porto.
How so?
Well, in Faro, you often need to pay with cash directly on the bus. Single urban fares are usually between €1.8 and €2.
Cash on board. Okay, good to know if you're used to cards.
Exactly.
Yep.
Alternatively, you can get a prepaid card called the UTC Faro card, but there isn't that single, widely accepted card like Navigante or Andante that covers everything. It's a bit more fragmented.
Interesting. And tourist passes.
That's another key difference. Faro lacks a comprehensive, unified tourist pass that covers everything easily.
Right.
And while the CP trains connect Faro to other towns along the Algarve,
Like Lagos or Tavira.
exactly, those require separate tickets. You buy them at the train station.
Yeah.
And one really critical point for planning your evenings in Faro, there's basically no late-night public transit.
Okay, so taxis or walking after dark. Good to factor in.
Definitely factor that in.
All right, that covers public transport really well. Let's pivot now. From buses and trains to actually getting behind the wheel yourself.
Okay, driving in Portugal.
Understanding the rules for foreign driving licenses is absolutely critical if you plan to explore by car. And the specifics, while they vary quite significantly depending on where your license was issued, it can feel like a bit of a labyrinth.
It really can.
Yeah.
And this brings us to the crucial question. When does your foreign license stop being valid? When do you absolutely need to get a Portuguese one?
Yeah, the deadlines.
Exactly. We need to navigate those timelines and requirements. It can feel like a maze, as you said, but we've got the map right here. Knowing this stuff up front can save you from a major headache later on.
Okay, let's map it out. First, for citizens of the EU or the European Economic Area,
Right. The relatively simple case.
you can actually use your current license indefinitely while driving in Portugal. However, a key recommendation we saw in the sources is that if you become a resident,
Mhm.
you should exchange it for a Portuguese one within 2 years of getting residency. It's not strictly mandatory to keep driving, but it apparently simplifies a lot of administrative things down the line.
Good practical advice. Now, for non-UEA nationals, this is where it gets really important to connect the dots and pay attention to the details.
Okay.
If your home country has a bilateral agreement with Portugal, or if it's part of specific international traffic conventions, think countries like Brazil, Cape Verde, many others,
Right.
you can drive as a tourist on your foreign license for up to 185 days. That's roughly 6 months.
6 months as a tourist. Got it.
But once you officially establish residency in Portugal, the clock starts ticking really fast. You must apply to exchange your license for a Portuguese one within 90 days.
90 days. Just 3 months.
90 days. And after those 90 days are up, your foreign license is no longer legally valid for driving in Portugal, period.
Wow. Okay, that's a tight deadline. What about countries without those agreements? Say, maybe some U.S. states or licenses from India?
That's an even more immediate situation. If your license is from a country without that reciprocal agreement, you cannot legally use it beyond the 185 days as a tourist.
Okay.
And the moment you establish residency, you basically have two choices. Either exchange it immediately, or you have to prepare to take both the Portuguese theory test and the practical driving test from scratch.
Oh, so potentially retake your driving test.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And just a quick note for our UK listeners. Post-Brexit, UK licenses are generally treated quite similarly to EU ones in this context. They remain exchangeable.
Okay, good to know for UK folks. So how does this exchange process actually work? It sounds potentially bureaucratic.
It can seem that way, but actually has a very clear step-by-step flow once you know it. First step, book a medical exam.
A medical?
Yep. Needs to be with a specific IMT-registered doctor. IMT is the Institute for Mobility and Land Transport, the Portuguese equivalent of the DDLA or DMV.
Okay, IMT doctor.
Right. And that doctor will electronically submit your health certificate directly to the IMT system. That's step one done. After that, you go online and fill out the IMT form for the license exchange application.
Online form. What documents do you need ready for that? This sounds crucial.
It is. This next detail is key. You'll need your original valid foreign driving license, of course.
Right.
Your national ID card or your passport, official proof of your legal residence in Portugal, your residence card or certificate, and critically, your Portuguese tax number. Everyone needs one. It's called the UNUF number. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yes, one more thing. If your license isn't already in Portuguese, English, Spanish, or French, you'll need a certified sworn translation of it. Ah, translation. Got it. It's a precise list, but having it all ready beforehand probably makes things much smoother.
Absolutely. Preparation is key.
Mm.
Now, thinking about the whole journey, the final main step involves going to an IMP office in person.
Okay, an appointment.
Right. You'll pay the fee there, usually around 30 to 40 euro. They'll take your photo and fingerprints. And this is interesting. You have to surrender your original foreign license.
You give it up permanently.
You give it to them. They then actually send it back to the issuing authorities in your home country.
Wow. Okay.
After you've done all that, you wait. It usually takes a few weeks, sometimes longer, for your new Portuguese license card to arrive in the mail.
A few weeks. Wait, okay. Let's just quickly recap those absolutely critical deadlines again, just to be crystal clear.
Good idea. They're important.
After you receive your official residence permit, you have that 90-day window.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, you can keep driving on your old license if it's from a treaty country, and to me, you must submit your exchange application within those 90 days.
Correct. Submit the application within 90 days.
And then there's that 2-year point. After 2 full years of residency, a conversion exam becomes mandatory for everyone, no matter where your license came from originally.
That's right. After 2 years, even if you had an exchangeable license initially, if you haven't exchanged it, you'll likely face an exam requirement. So the takeaway is don't wait.
Don't wait. So the practical question becomes, what if miss these deadlines? What happens then?
Well, in practice, the strong advice from our sources is that expats should apply as soon as possible after getting residency. Don't even wait for the 90 days to get close.
Just get it
Get
done.
it done. Because the IMT process itself can take several weeks, sometimes even a month or more, from application to getting the card. So planning ahead, booking those appointments online as soon as you can, is absolutely essential to avoid any gap where you can't legally drive.
Makes sense. And the general requirements apply across the board, right? Age limits, being medically fit.
Exactly. You have to meet Portugal's minimum age requirements for the vehicle type you want to drive. You need to be physically and mentally fit. That's what the medical certificate confirms.
Okay.
And obviously, you need to hold a valid license currently, one that isn't suspended or revoked back home.
And that NIF number again? Mandatory.
Mandatory for the whole process. You can't do much officially in Portugal without a NIF.
Okay. Now, thinking about the bigger picture, you mentioned EU versus non-EU. Are there other key differences or nuances there?
Yes. EU nationals, as we said, generally have a straightforward exchange, no test needed. That streamlined process also applies to many non-EU nationals whose countries are part of the OECD Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the CPLP, which is the Community of Portuguese Language Countries. They often swap without retesting too.
So quite a few countries get the easier swap.
Quite a few. But if you're from a non-treaty country, one that doesn't fall into those categories, you really need to be prepared for the possibility of taking both the Portuguese written theory test and the practical driving test.
Okay, be ready for the full testing process, potentially. Did the sources offer any, practical tips specifically for expats going through this?
They did, actually. Some really useful ones. First, book that medical exam and your IMT appointment immediately after you get your residency confirmed. Don't delay.
Be proactive.
Exactly. Second, if the online IMT form seems daunting, especially if your Portuguese isn't fluent yet, don't hesitate to ask a Portuguese-speaking friend for help, or even use one of the specialized relocation services that is helped with these things.
Good idea. Don't struggle alone.
Right. Also, always keep copies of every single document you submit. Digital copies, paper copies, both.
Back up everything. Sensible.
And here's a clever little tip. There's an online form you can fill out beforehand to self-report your residence address to the authorities, often called the AIM form. Doing that in advance can apparently save some time when you're actually at the IMT office.
Oh, interesting pre-step. AM's form.
And finally, while you're in that waiting period, after you've submitted everything but before the Portuguese license arrives, which could be a month or more,
Yeah, that limbo period.
keep your original foreign license with you. If they let you keep it temporarily, policies can vary slightly. And definitely keep the proof of your submission email or receipt from IMT. Law enforcement will generally recognize that you've started the exchange process if you can show that proof.
Okay, so proof of application is key during the wait. That's reassuring.
It is.
So, wrapping this all up, what does all this detail really mean for you, our listener?
Yeah, the bottom line.
Well, whether you're planning to buzz around Lisbon using that Navigante card, or maybe you're dreaming of driving Portugal's stunning coastline, understanding these different transport systems, the driving rules, those critical deadlines, it's basically your ultimate shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you feel truly at home, navigate the country with ease, and just have more confidence as you explore.
Absolutely. Knowledge is definitely most valuable when you understand it and can actually apply it. This deep dive hopefully arms you with that confidence. Confidence to move through Portugal smoothly, knowing the nuances of its quite diverse transport networks, and having a clear path to driving legally if you choose to.
Well said. And remember, Portugal really does seem to be a country that rewards those who plan ahead a little bit, especially when it comes to travel and admin.
That's very true. So maybe here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over after listening today.
Okay, let's hear it.
With so many distinct public transport systems, from the unified cards in Lisbon and Porto to the zonal systems to needing cash in Faro, how might this really localized approach to public transit subtly shape the unique character and the daily flow of each Portuguese city, not just for tourists, but for the people who actually live there? How does it influence their experience beyond just getting from A to B?
That's interesting. How the system itself shapes the city's rhythm. Something to think about indeed.